Welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast, episode number 44, Learning Music. Well, welcome once again to the podcast. My name's Tim, and if you are a new listener, I'm continuing today a series I'm starting on music. I started it last week discussing over 20 instruments available for the iPad, and today I'm going to continue that thought with music and take it to music learning, applications designed to help you learn music theory, how to read sheet music, how to enhance your own practicing with real instruments, and that whole genre of applications available to help you as a brand new musician or someone wanting to learn music, or if you're more of a professional, if you're someone that already is fairly proficient at their instrument, I will discuss those applications as well. So that's what's on the table today, and without further delay, let me jump right into it. The first set of apps that I'm very excited to discuss are those on music theory, and also those on learning how to read sheet music. So these are some applications that would have come to great use, and I'm kind of disappointed that I'm just now seeing these after I've graduated college, when these applications would have helped me out immensely in learning some of these very crucial things as a music student. So this is kind of stuff that makes all the other stuff after you have an instrument more useful. As you have this knowledge, you're able to apply it when you play. And a lot of this stuff would help you as you play your music instruments that I discussed last week. So the first application is called Scales and Modes. And as it sounds, that's what it's for. When you launch the app, the interface looks like a papyrus, an old style piece of paper that you're able to interact with. And you're given a list of different types of scales and modes. So you have major, you have natural minor, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, jazz minor, Dorian, flat 2, and all sorts of other scales. The list goes on and on. And at the very top of this papyrus, which the iPad now turns into, you have the ability to select what your root note should be. So in this case, I have D selected. And then you just select major, as I just did, if you want to see the major. And what that enables you to do, and what that does for you, is at the very top it says D major. Underneath that, it has the different notes that are part of that scale. It has on a piano keyboard, or you can change it to guitar tabs, which is kind of a cool thing if you're a guitarist out there. And it has the different notes, selected on there. It has the D's in red, kind of the root notes highlighted, but the rest of the notes are in there to show you what notes are a part of that scale. And you're able to play it as I'm doing right now. So as you just heard, you can actually play the scale, and it sounds great. It gives you the ability to basically hear what all the scales sound like, to get that in your mind. So in like oral skills, you are tested on just identifying those kinds of things. And I found this app very useful as a music major in learning the scales. It'd help out in practicing the scales to make sure you're playing the right notes and everything. And it's a great little app. So if you're into that kind of knowledge and studying this kind of thing, it's a great app. I do have a promo code available for this app. So if you email me at ipadpossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Scales and Mode promo, I will send you that free copy if you are the first to do so. The next app, and this is an app that I was pretty excited to test out, is called Carjon Pro. And it's a rather pricey app. I think it's around $10. But what you get for it is quite impressive. It takes another step beyond scales and modes. And instead of just telling you what they are, is more of like a personal tutor. So you now have a personal tutor for identifying intervals, identifying chords, scales, pitches, tempo, and key signatures. So the interface behind this is once you launch the app, you have a piano on the bottom quarter of the screen. Above that, you have the ability to switch between keyboard, fret, acoustic, guitar. Basically, you're able to change the sound that you hear from guitar, nylon guitar, organ, or piano. And from there, right above there, you have the ability in the left side to select what you're hearing. So basically, you're being tested as you hear things played through the speakers and shown on the keyboard itself through visual indicators. And you're able to select what you hear. So I'm now in the interval area. So I've got 0, prime, I've got minor second, I've got fourths, I've got basically all the different options there that you just hit when you hear what's being played. Directly above the keyboard to the right of that listing of options is a staff. And what that staff is used for is to show you the starting note of whatever you're being tested on. So if it's a chord, it'll have the root note. If it's a scale, it'll have the root pitch of that scale. And that's kind of what it's used for. I think it is used for other things as well, but that's kind of what that's for. But overall, the interface is really great. You're given the ability to play notes back and actually answer things through the keyboard as well. So it's an amazing just personal tutor. As music students, you're tested on identifying chords. Is this a major chord? Is this a minor chord? Is this a suspended chord? Diminished seventh chord? Major, minor? You're tested on all these different things that this application tests you on. And I actually struggled many years through oral skills. It's a 2-year class that took me 4 years just because I'm not good at this stuff. And this application helps you and it gives you the ability to train away from a real piano, away from the classroom in a way that was never possible before. So as a music major, it's a very exciting time to actually own an iPad to help you and train you in being more proficient in these types of things. So it's called Chord Pro, and just a very well-made app. They got a version for the iPhone, but with the iPad screen real estate, they've really done wonders as far as helping music students and those that just are interested in music learn it and learn it well. So that application, I believe it's $10. I do have a promo code for that. So if you just email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com, Chord Pro, promo in the subject line, I will email you that promo code if you are the first to do so. The next application, kind of rounding out this music theory segment, I'll move on then to actually learning how to read sheet music. Some applications for that, but the next one's called Chord Lab. And this is a very cool application that helps you visualize how chords are laid out. So basically, if you're not familiar with chords, it's basically playing more than one note at a time. And you can arrange those in different ways. These are called inversions. And right now it's showing me the third inversion of the C9 chord. And if you hit drop 2, it'll drop that second note of the chord down. You can drop 2 and 4. And it will give you a very visual way to learn these chords. Now, this is something as a music major you also need to develop. You need to develop what these chords sound like in the different inversions, which is kind of tricky because it's the same chord, but when it's arranged differently, you have to actually hear what that sounds like. And this application is all about chords, all about hearing the difference between the different intervals, the different inversions, and you're able to select any chord pretty much. And it's a very well thought out application as far as the interface. I was not confused with it at all. It is just a really well designed application that gives you indicators as far as on a keyboard. There's actually a keyboard on the application itself that indicates what notes are to be played, as well on the staff above. So in that, those change as you change how you lay out the chords. So it's called Chord Lab, and that's really what it is. It's a laboratory for experimenting with chords and it does that really well. It helps you learn the different sounds. And as a music major, this is another application that would have come in great use as you go through and learn these different chords that you use every day as you play music, as you experience music. So it's called Chord Lab. It's a couple bucks in the App Store, and this one as well, I do have a promo code. So if you email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Chord Lab promo, I will send that to you. So that's Chord Lab, another great application. And from there, I'm going to move on to another set of applications. These kind of revolving around learning how to actually read sheet music. The next application, and this starts off another set of different apps, and these next four will all basically teach you in a fun game-like way how to read sheet music. And most of them do that through piano keyboards with basically the notes appearing on the screen, and they speed up over time. And over time they speed up, and they all do these in different ways to give you a different enjoyment out of it. But the purpose behind all of these are to make learning how to read sheet music fun. So the first one, it's $10. It's called Mozart. It only works with the iPad. They have an iPhone version as well. This one I do have a promo code for as well as with the other ones. But this one's a very nice app. What I don't like about it is you don't have a full keyboard when you are playing the game. Instead, you have whatever scale you are working with. So in this case, C minor, I have C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, and B flat, only available as different pads that I touch. It's not an actual keyboard. So this limits you as far as not being able to throw in accidentals in there and things like that. It is a very well designed app. It's very similar to other ones though out there. It's $10, and basically what it's designed for is to teach young students and even old students how to basically quickly identify you're on the B flat line, I should click B flat. I'm on the E flat line, I should hit E flat. So that's what it's designed for, and it keeps score up top. You have three chances where you can get it wrong or whatever until you air out. So I guess I'd say this is the most simple version of the application is designed to teach you this. And I think for $10, it might be a stretch. I think the other options that I'll discuss in just a few minutes here might be a better option to learn this. So I don't give this my highest recommendation, but that being said, it's a great app. I think if they lower the costs, I would fully recommend it. But at the $10, I don't think it's fully recommendable. That's just my opinion on it. It is the most simple of them, and it's basically been around since 2001, originally developed for the Palm devices, but they've since developed for the iPhone and now the iPad, and they feel like very native, very well-designed apps, but I think they still have the Palm Pilot structure of pricing attached to them. So it's called Mozart, and this one I do have a promo code for as well. And just email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Mozart promo. The next application, and this is a personal favorite of mine, it's called Line Space. And this application it simply makes learning sheet music the most fun experience you'll ever have. You're transported out of your traditional sheet music atmosphere to outer space. And you have this staff that is created by lasers. It looks like a laser staff with either treble clef or bass clef. You get to pick at the beginning before you start this game, which helps you learn music, which hand you want to learn on. So you have either the right or left, so treble or bass clef, and then you're given options. So you can have the keys on the keyboard below colored, and this was done to help you match up the notes on the screen above that are floating by with the notes on the keyboard. So you can take that off, and that will give you 3 times the points in this game. Some other options, you're able to choose between 1 note appearing at a time, to 2 notes, to 3 notes at a time. So I like to play with 3 notes at a time to make it more challenging, and you can play it so you are trying to do a chord at a time, so you can actually play a chord at the same time, but you can also do it individually, one note at a time. You're also able to turn on and off flats or sharps, which if you have them on, you get higher points when those are played. So you're given all these different options. So you can play at the level of your ability, basically, and you can add options as you get better and better. And there's different levels that you'll go through, and there's a clock at the top. As you run out of that time, you go into level 2 and level 3, and it speeds up as you do this. But the cool thing is that you're basically transported out of the traditional staff paper into outer space. The sound, you have background music playing, which is very atmospheric of outer space. That it doesn't sound like a piano, instead it sounds like the synth, and it's a great experience that transports you to this new environment that is created through this application. And it's one of the best experiences I've had learning how to read sheet music on any device. And I just can't give it higher recommendation than I can. It's a $6 application, I believe. It's in the App Store. It's called Lionspace, and it is a personal favorite of mine that will stay on the iPad to play as a game, but also help me hone in my sheet music reading ability. So it's called Lionspace. I have 2 promo codes for this application. So if you email me, and you're one of the first 2 to email me with the subject header Lionspace promo, I will send you one of those copies. And I'd like to thank them for giving me those to send away. The next application, and this one moves a little bit away from just learning sheet music itself to actually learning songs. So it's called Piano Man, and what this application is designed for, it's designed to help you, I guess, learn how to play songs without needing to know the notes. So how this is laid out is you have either 1-player or 2-player modes, and you'll have balls similar to like a Tap Tap Revenge, but you'll have balls coming towards a key, and you just hit that note when that comes. And you have different songs to choose from between Bach and Mozart and all these classical artists, and you can learn these songs and memorize them by playing this game a lot. And when you go to a traditional piano, the idea behind this is you'll be able to play those without ever having to sing any sheet music. And that's a really cool thought, a really cool idea, because you have those that don't want to take the time to use one of these other applications to learn sheet music, to learn rhythm and all that. And instead, you're basically hearing it, and it goes a step behind just hearing and playing. You're actually playing these notes and playing this through a game-type interface that you're able to memorize things. And through doing it a bunch, through playing the game a lot, you're actually able to memorize these songs and play it back on a traditional piano. And that's very cool. So I think it's a great app. It's a $7 application, I believe. And for what it does, it's great. It's not to help you learn how to read music. It's not for that. But instead, it's more like a Tap Tap Revenge game, but it can be used to help you memorize pieces of music that are built into the app. I don't believe you can import your own songs, but that are built into the app so you can learn how to play them. And if you play it enough, I believe one day you'll have these memorized, and you can look and appear to be a professional pianist, and perhaps you could be. You can learn enough songs, memorize them perhaps, to be a professional or at least a good amateur pianist through this application. So it's a very cool concept, a very different type of app, but something I just thought I should talk about because it's very cool, much different. So it's called Piano Man. This one I do have a promo code for as well. So if you email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Piano Man promo, I will send that to you. The next application for learning how to read sheet music, and this is the best bang for the buck I think that's out there, and it's called Piano Tutor. And the cool thing about this app, it's only $3, and it goes beyond what Lionspace does because it has the ability to do both hands at the same time. It also goes beyond Lionspace in that you're not transporting to outer space, which I think is a great thing because I think I'll be using that app more because it's more fun. It's more engaging of an application. But this is for more if you actually want to learn sheet music in, I guess, a more traditional manner. What you're given at launch is the ability to see a key map, so you can see what all the notes are that you'll be utilizing, marked out between C and the upper octave C. Actually, it goes from G, the last space down on the bass clef, to the highest space on the treble clef. So it doesn't kind of deal with any of the middle notes. It'll use that middle C as well. But it gives you that key map, so you know what you're dealing with right away, and you're given the ability to play two types of games here, or tutoring modes, as this is Piano Tutor. So you're given the ability to practice sheet reading, or the ability to practice pitch listening. So this is kind of honing in your perfect pitch abilities, where you just hear a note and instantly recognize where that note is on the keyboard, which is a cool ability to have, and something that we haven't had really great tools to kind of learn how to do that until now. So it's a great app for that use case of learning what pitches are, what they sound like, and where they fall on the keyboard. But what I find it more useful for is reading sheet music. So you have basically 20 questions, and they probably change each time, I'm sure. You have a clock on the screen to kind of, I think it winds down as you wait longer and longer, but you're given a staff, and the letter notes are on the staff to help you guide your way through there. I think you can turn those off if you so desire. And what you basically do is see the note on the staff, you play on the keyboard, you go into the next note, play on the keyboard, you go to the next note and play on the keyboard. And the cool thing is it actually does look like a real keyboard. The staff looks like a real staff. So I think you'll have a better time in actually learning the piano than you would line space. Line space, you might not learn how to read sheet music probably not quite as fast as you would with this application. But the trade-off, again, is line space does it in such a fun way, in such a way that you're transported to this outer space environment that this application does not do. So it's kind of a trade-off, and I think they're both handy and both useful. It really depends on how you desire to use the application, what the age range. I think younger kids especially would really pick up the line space, whereas this application might feel more like work to them, might feel like studying to them, when line space is truly a game, and this one is more of a tutor, which just a trade-off. So it's only $3, so it's a great price for the application that is out there for the iPad. And this is something I would have loved to have early on in life when I was, in 4th grade, actually learning sheet music, because it wasn't a quick process for me to learn this kind of stuff. It was actually quite a tedious process to learn all the notes on the staff and where they all lie on the piano. It's something that really wasn't available with paper. You had people that could help you and tutor you, but nothing was like this at all for many years. So it's very exciting to see some of these apps that really help you tackle this huge problem of how am I going to learn where these notes fall on the keyboard or on the staff. And these solutions are now solved with apps like Mozart, Line Space, and Piano Tutor. So that kind of wraps up this segment on music theory applications and learning sheet music on the iPad. So now I'm going to move on to an application that helps you learn music in general. Actually, I should mention that, instruments in general. It's called Orchestra. So Orchestra, what is it? It's an application. It's $5 in the App Store. And what this app is designed for is to teach you the different members of an orchestra. So if you go to listen to symphonies or orchestras often, this application will help you identify those instruments, kind of some background information on them. And I have to say, it's a beautiful application. And so what you do, you launch the application, you tap on the screen that shows you the full orchestra. So you have violins, violas, cellos, bass, tuba, French horn, bassoons, English horn, oboes, flutes, and cor anglais, and clarinet. Actually, cor anglais is not there. You have clarinet, so you have the harp, the piano, the timpani, the cymbals, the trumpet, and the trombone. So you have pretty much the full orchestra here, as well as the conductor. So if you tap on the conductor area, the podium, you're given, actually that does not give you the conductor. Instead it gives you the full orchestra. So if you tap on that conductor, it gives you the orchestra and tells you kind of what each instrument will play. So the concept behind this is you tap on an instrument, it'll play a song for you. And if you tap on the conductor, it'll give you their score, what they actually are playing. So in the case of the violin, it's playing Bach, Ciccone from Partita, and it'll go through the whole list of what all of these instruments play. And that's a very cool thing. So you can actually pick these instruments up, these pieces of music up, if you desire to actually listen to the full song apart from this application. So it's a very cool app that has a great interface to help you learn instruments. And this is something as a young, middle school age, that you take some time to learn the instruments and what their qualities are and why each is special. So with the bassoon, if you tap on the bassoon, it will describe what the instrument, the sound of it. It will basically describe where it falls in the orchestra as far as its role and how you hold it and kind of the range of the instrument and some quotes about the instrument itself. And I find it just a great, beautiful application to help anyone learn the orchestra. So that's what it's for, and I think it's a great application. It's only $5, which depending on your perspective might be too high or too little. But I also have a promo code for this one as well. So if you're interested in learning instruments, learning what they're all about, learning the qualities of instruments, email me at ipadpossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Orchestra Promo. Now moving away from those other types of applications, I'm moving now to apps that, as a musician, as someone that already plays an instrument or conducts, will utilize to enhance their playing, to help them perhaps play along with different things. So these are for people that actually use instruments or conduct on a regular basis, right? And this can range from people that are newbies to people that have been playing for years. So the first application is designed for conductors, and this one is called Maestro Excel. So the concept behind this is, say you're a new conductor, perhaps an older one, but you want to learn how to conduct. So it gives you the layout of your beat pattern. So when a conductor conducts, they move their hand in a certain pattern depending on if it's 4/4 or 3/4, or depending on the tempo or all of those different things. And it changes based on all these different things that go into music, such as staccato, if it's short, if it's legato, or more expressive, or all sorts of different things that go into this. So when you launch this app, you're given the option to change the tempo, the option to change the audible beat that you hear from a quarter note to 2/8 notes to triplets. And from there, you're able to change the actual beat pattern. And you're able to change it in a wide variety of settings. You're able to change it from just a 1 beat in a measure to 2 beats, to 3 beats, to 4 beats, and from there to 5, with either the option of 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. And from there, you're actually able to change to 6 with 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 6 with 3 plus 3. Or it goes on with this ... You're able to change from 7 with different options there to 8 with different options there to 9 with different options there to 10 with all sorts of different combinations as far as how you break up the beat, to 11, and finally 12. So you're able to change it to any one of those beat patterns, and it'll show you
how that works, how it looks. And once you have it going, it has a little ball that you can kind of follow with your hand on the screen. And I find it a great tool that would have come in handy when I took conducting class. Because with conducting class, you kind of have to figure this stuff out for yourself. And with this application, you're able to just follow along with it and memorize these patterns as you conduct. So it's an amazingly useful application if you want to learn how to conduct, because you'll learn all these different patterns. You'll learn that there's more than one way to conduct music. You can do 2+3 or 3+2 if you're in a 5-beat pattern. And you're able to do different styles. There's a staccato style, so it'll do that style of staccato. It'll do non-expressive things. You're able to see from the point of view of the student as well, the performer. So you can look back as what they will be seeing as you conduct. So you can change that point of view if you want. You also have feedback as far as it turns into a metronome for you. And I just find it an incredibly useful app as a conductor or someone wanting to learn how to conduct. Just that. I believe it's $5 in the App Store, and I can't give it high enough praises for what it does, because it does it so well. It gives you so many options as far as what kind of meter you're working with. They've pretty much gone through the whole list of what possible scenarios conductor could have, and I find it quite good. So it's called Maestro Excel, and I believe it's $5 in the App Store. So pick it up today if you are wanting to learn how to conduct. The next set of applications are for musicians that want some practice in improvising and things like that. The first one is called Bandmaster. It's by the same people that made Chord Lab that I discussed earlier and Mozart. The same company, same group of application developers there. And this one's pretty cool. What it gives you access to is you're able to have a metronome going on at the time. You're able to choose how many courses you want to have played. And you're able to set what chords you want the pattern to be in. So basically the premise is, as a jazz musician, you might be familiar with this, but you have different chords that just play in the background as people improvise over them. This application provides an environment where you can create that band to practice improvising, to practice that whole scenario of playing music over other people as they provide accompaniment for you. And you're able to change the style between country, shuffle, swing, or Latin, and a basic or a walk pattern. And I find it pretty cool. It's something that in middle school and high school, and even today, if I want to pick up learning how to improvise, something that gives you invaluable time with other instruments, learning and hearing how things sound over different chords, seeing what works and what doesn't work as you play. And you're even able to turn off the different sections of the band, so you can have piano at the loudest part, or the drums being the loudest instrument out there, or the strings being louder than everybody else. So you're able to change the balance of the group behind you as you solo. And I think it's a very cool application for those that want to start learning how to improvise. And once again, it's called Bandmaster. I have a promo code as well, so if you email me, iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line Bandmaster promo, I will send that to you. The next two applications are just for jazz musicians, right? They are based on the Real Book. Now, the Real Book, if you don't know, if you're not a jazz musician or someone like that, is a book that has all of these classic jazz charts with the chords laid out. So right now I've got 26-2 by John Coltrane, and it's got all of those different chords used in his song and his chart, or whatever you call it. And you're actually able to change the transposition of these chords on the fly between the different instruments. So you can change it if you're a B-flat tenor saxophone player to B-flat. So you'll be in tune with everybody else playing along with the right chords. And this is a universal application, so it works great on your iPhone as well. And you're actually able to export this to, your photo gallery or different. You can save it off from this application, which is great. So you can get it out of there. You can post it to actually forums, the iRealBook forums, and discuss this chart. And I find it just a great application because before, as a jazz musician, you'd have to purchase this RealBook, which I guess they can be expensive, around $20 or so, depending on the book itself. So there's actually two applications like this. I'm going to discuss another one right after this. But I find the interface great. You're able to search up top for the song itself. If you're looking for a song in particular, you're able to jump to a composer that you might like or a style. And you're actually able to create playlists of different charts so you can quickly go in between the different charts that you're practicing for a set coming up or something like that. So it's called iRealBook, and I do have a promo code for this one as well. And just email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the subject line iRealBook promo. So it's a great app, and it's a couple bucks in the App Store. So the next application, right along with the iRealBook, is called UnrealBook. And UnrealBook is designed to carry out that same purpose. The difference here is UnrealBook does not come pre-installed with any charts like iRealBook does. This one, you have to go through iTunes to actually add your PDFs in of the music you want. So the obvious advantage with iRealBook is you've got the charts already there. But with UnrealBook, if you're a jazz musician, you probably already have a bunch of music that you play on a regular basis. So the concept here is you simply scan those PDFs in and add them to UnrealBook, and you have a great quality sheet music right there for your iPad. And I can see the advantage there of having you do it yourself and add your own music. But I see the advantage also of iRealBook with it giving you sheet music that's readily available right there on the market. And the price difference is $3. So with iRealBook, it's $8. And it's universal, so it works both with the iPhone and the iPad. Now, this application, UnrealBook, is $5. And I'm not sure if it's universal. I would believe it would not be because of the way you have to get your songs onto the iPad through the iTunes. So I'd personally recommend iRealBook if I had to choose between the two. There is a price difference there, but I guess the perk of this one, you'd be able to load more complicated charts than you would on iRealBook. But on iRealBook, the kind of benefit here is it works with their service. They've got a forum that's set up that you can actually, that it will continually be adding new songs to the iRealBook. It currently has 900 songs, but more are being added by users every day that work with that iReal forum, and I guess it's a pretty lively place. So there's trade-offs and benefits of each. iRealBook is limited by just showing you the chords, right? With this application, since you load in your own charts, you might have the melody included there as well. So I just take a look at both of them and compare them to what you need as a jazz musician. So that's iRealBook and UnrealBook. $8 for iRealBook and $5 for UnrealBook. And I do have a promo code available for UnrealBook as well. So if you email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com, subject line UnrealBook promo, I will send that to you right away. I wanted to quickly mention an application called eTuner. Now, I was looking for a tuner when I first got the iPad when I was still in school, and this was the first one I found. So I actually paid for this app. This is one of the few that I did not get for free as a part of this podcast. It's a couple bucks, but it works with both the iPhone and the iPad. And it's just a very simple tuner. That's all it does. It's a huge screen that just shows you where you are as far as the pitch. And it works really well. So it's eTuner, a couple bucks in the App Store. And the cool thing there is in the past we actually had to purchase tuners designed exactly for that. But now with the iPhone and the iPad, we can now replace that cost of $20 to $30 on a good tuner with the iPad. So it's just another instance where the iPad can replace your metronomes, your tuners, because it has a great speaker, it's got a great mic, so it can replace many of those hardware things that are just not necessary anymore. So that's eTuner, a great little app. The next application you might have heard before on this podcast is called Fourscore. And since the interview, we've had a lot of updates to Fourscore. Fourscore, if you don't remember, is an application designed to get your sheet music. It comes pre-installed with sheet music, but you're able to add your own sheet music to this application. And it's designed for musicians to load up their sheet music, to annotate on top of their sheet music so they can add in accidentals and all those different things. But it's called Fourscore. So the purpose is to just have sheet music, as much sheet music as you need on your iPad. So you can get rid of paper and go paperless with your sheet music with Fourscore. And the cool thing is you're able to annotate and mark up your music in a wide variety of different ways. You can use different pens, so it comes with a red pen, a blue pen, a black pen, a marker, or a highlighter. And you're able to draw on top of your PDFs and sheet music to make marks. You can even add notes, type in notes that you don't see when you're playing, but if you need to pull that up before you play to remember some quick tips about this piece before you get off and running with it, you can add notes to it as well. And it's a very well-designed app. It's very fast as far as turn between the pages. You can also create a set list. So if you have a concert, you can have that list that just goes from one piece to the next. So I'd highly recommend this application if you're looking for a sheet music reader application to help you just get rid of paper. That's exactly where technology has led us, to help us get rid of all this unnecessary paper and use the iPad for that instead. It does come pre-installed with hundreds of open source free music from Bach and Mozart, and a great application if you just want to carry around all your music with you. Also check out the interview I did a while back with the application developer for Fourscore, and just a great little application. I'd highly recommend that one as well. So now, moving away from some of those more general purpose apps, I'm going to move more towards, if you're a guitarist, what would be a good tool for you as a guitarist? So the first one is called Chord Mate. And Chord Mate is basically designed to give you fingerings for your guitar playing. So basically when you launch the app, you have a custom keyboard at the bottom. Not like a piano keyboard, but a typing alphabetical keyboard. And this keyboard, on the top row, it has the note letter name, so A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And right next to that is sharp, flat, or the slash. And then the row below that has another specialized set of keys: minor, diminished, augmented, sustained, major, added, and then parentheses right next to it. And then below that it has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, and 13. And all of those keys help you search for chords. So comes with all the different chords you'd use as a guitarist. So if I search for B diminished 11th and I hit search, it'll find those chords for B diminished 11th. And if you're a guitarist, you'll be able to find, the chords you use on a regular basis. So C minor had 4 results. So 4 different ways you can play C minor. And this is very cool because in the past, if you were learning guitar, if you need to look up fingerings, you had to go through a paper book or the internet and try to find the right chord. But now you have a specialized keyboard that is designed. Its sole purpose is to help you find the right fingerings for the right chord. And it's something that it's just very simple, but can save you as a guitarist a great amount of time in searching for the right fingering. So another great application available for the iPad. It's called Chord Mate. I'm going to talk about a similar app right now. So the similar app I was talking about is actually quite a bit different, but it is still for the guitarist. It's called Tab Toolkit, and it's a universal application that basically designed for the guitarist to practice. right? It's your practice kit. And on the bottom of the playing atmosphere, you have the different fingerings that you utilize to play these notes. And right now I'm in the arpeggiated chords practice and exercise area of the application. So you're able to play along. Basically, it's a play along. Like they have sing-alongs, you now play alongs with the iPad. So you have your guitar, and you can play along with these different arpeggios to help you learn the guitar and its fingerings. So I found this application pretty incredible. It comes with all sorts of songs as well that you can play along with. Beethoven, Mozart, national anthems, Jonathan Colton, and you just load up the song and you have the sheet music there, but underneath it has the tab numbers and the fingerings on the actual guitar itself underneath. And you hit play, it will play in tempo and give you the fingerings and highlight the notes as you go through. So if you're a guitarist and need a good application to help you practice different songs, to help you practice your scales and all of those technical things that none of us really like to practice, it'll help you do just that. So this is a quite different app from Chordmate, but right along with it, it is for the guitarist and a great application. I think if you're a guitarist, it'd be well worth it. I personally am not a guitarist, but if I was, this is just the app I would think I would appreciate to use every day. So it's called Tab Toolkit. So I picked that one up if you are a guitarist. The final app of the day, as far as learning music, is called Saxo Notes HD. And this app was actually developed and created by some high school students wanting to share saxophone fingerings in a great user-friendly way. So basically, all this app is designed for is for the saxophonist to learn fingerings, or to basically share fingerings with those next to you as you're in band or whatever. And the interface is really well designed. You basically are launched with a wooden table that has over top of it a saxophone with the different keys. Very easy to read and determine what the fingerings are as you go through the notes. I am a saxophonist, so I can say and tell you it is well designed to help you learn the fingerings. So besides the saxophone, the fingerings displayed, you also have, coming out of the saxophone, a staff that has that treble clef and the note itself. So you also have the ledger lines below and above the instrument. And on the very top, you have the A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, the different notes available on the staff. And you can say you select D, it'll give you D, and you can select D natural, D sharp, or D flat. And then on the other side, right below E, F, and G, are the different octaves available to the saxophonist. So you have octave 1, 2, and 3, and it'll change the fingerings appropriately as you change octaves. And you're able to tap on the tap to hear button, and it'll play that note so you can kind of hear if you're playing the right note at all. And you can also change between E flat and B flat. So if you're an E flat instrument, it tells you that is for the sopranino, the alto, or the baritone saxophone. And if you're a B flat instrument, that is for the soprano, tenor, and bass saxophone. So it actually tells you which instrument you are. And I have to say, it's a great app, and it's very cool that some high school students were actually able to design this application because it's beautiful. It's something that looks professionally made and is just a wonderful app if you're a saxophonist and need to look up fingerings. One thing that I will say is there currently is no way to show alternative fingerings. I would absolutely love if they added this feature to display there are alternative fingerings for different sounds that you get out of that same note, different intonation things that you get out of the same note, and that is the one big thing lacking. Right now there's no way to do it to get alternative fingerings out of this application. So if that's the one update I'd like to see, that's it. I'm not sure how they do it. Perhaps a swipe over the saxophone to reveal alternative fingerings, but that's the one thing about it. It's a couple bucks in the App Store. And this one as well, I do a promo code for. So if you email me, iPadPossibilities@gmail.com, promo, I will email that to you as the subject line. So that's Saxo Notes HD. So great application, and I would highly recommend it if you're a saxophonist. So that concludes the content of this show on learning music. I kind of scurried the App Store to find all the different applications that help you as a musician learn music and practice music, and these were the top, I believe, 18 apps that I found for it. So once again, there are promo codes available for these and the music instrument apps from last week. Let me just run through the apps available, and all you have to do is email me at the email address is iPadPossibilities@gmail.com, and have the subject line, the application name with promo right after that. The apps available are Scales and Modes, Carajan Pro, Chord Lab, Mozart, 2 promo codes for Line Space, Piano Man, Orchestra, Bandmaster, iRealBook, UnrealBook, and Saxo Notes HD. So I'd like to thank the developers for giving me those promo codes to give away to you as a listener. And full and fair disclosure, all of the applications except for eTuner, I did get free of charge from the developer for review. So I just wanted to disclose that to you. But overall, some great applications and some great options for you as a musician if you want to learn instruments and all of those great things. And next week, I'll have some great applications that continue this music series. I'm not sure what the focus will be next week, but another set of music apps for the Wednesday, Thursday show next week. Feedback is always welcomed. You can do that by emailing me, iPadPossibilities@gmail.com, and sending in a voicemail to 209-542-iPad. That's 209-542-4723. Just email me or call in with your questions or feedback, and I'd love to play back some of those on the air to answer some questions as well. So I really appreciate that, and I think other listeners would be too if you just left some voicemail messages with some questions you might have. To support this podcast, you might be wondering, how do I support this show? I really love it. There's a couple ways to do that. The first way is through iTunes. Simply review the show and rate the show in iTunes. Just take 60 seconds out of your life, leave a quick review, and I'd really appreciate that. That helps the listeners know what you like about this show, what you appreciate about this show, what's different about this show than other iPad shows out there. The second way within iTunes is simply to purchase the iPad Possibilities podcast app. It's available for $2.99, and the great benefit of that app is you get the shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you get a couple extra video episodes. I've done one so far, but we'll plan on doing a couple others in the future. So it's $2.99 in the App Store now. And the final way, actually it's not the final way, but the last way I'll mention today is the premium podcast. And that podcast is available for $2 a month. And what you get with that podcast is ad-free versions of the episodes. I do entirely different episodes that are ad-free. I take out all the support and ads that I will do in the future and do now. So they're ad-free. You also are put on an email listserv, so you're notified of all the free applications available through the promo codes I receive from developers before anyone else. So if you're on the premium list, you'll get access before anyone else can take them. And you'll get first come, first serve of these free applications. So that's another great benefit. You'll also get extra episodes, both video and audio, not available anywhere else. And you'll get the shows Monday, Wednesday, and Friday instead of Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So those are the different ways you can support this show with the iPad Possibilities podcast. And if you would like to find out more information about this show and other shows, you can go to thepossibilitiesnetwork.com, and lots of information there to check out about this podcast. And that concludes this episode of the iPad Possibilities podcast. I will return for the Friday-Saturday show with some great apps and thoughts of the week. So thanks again for listening. This is Tim Chatton with the iPad Possibilities podcast, and we will speak again then.